to Hoop Jargon, man. I'm gonna add you to the crew, man. This crew called Hoop Jargon. They've been getting at it, man. They the ones that's gonna grill you, man, because they majority are all Houston people. So that's
Shout out to Hoop Jargon.
Man, I'm here with my man with Hoop Jargon, the best in the game, man. And you know I only let selected few in my circle. And this is the real dude right here. We gonna get down with the get down.
You heard the man. You know where we at. We gonna get down with the get downs, man. Shout out to Hoop Jargon, man. Y'all, as promised, man, we got a dope interview lined up for today. You know, a frequent visitor of the show, and so shout out to everybody early in the chat. Shout out to everybody early on the stream. Y'all matter, man. Y'all are doing the Lord's work, man. I'm telling you, God dog it. So I'm gonna bring my co-host up, man. You know, a guy who's always co-hosting with me. That's gonna be Between the Game Sports. What's up, my guy?
Yes, sir. What it do, man? Back in this H for a little bit.
Okay.
Rock and roll, man.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it. So anything you got before we get started, man? Because, you know, our special guest going to come set it off, so I already know what time it is.
No, I'm ready to rock and roll. It's been, about a month since we did one of these, man. Schedules have been crazy. Couldn't get it going. So, you know, we back to it, man. So here we go.
Here we go, man. So y'all hit the like button. Let's get everybody on the stream because y'all always like when Coach Sewell speak. And it just so happens, you know, the SWAC fans, he has crept into the SWAC consciousness. And without further ado, let's bring him up, man. My guy, Antone Sewell, man. What's up, Sewell?
What's up, Cliff? How you doing, man? Mr. Hoop Jargon himself.
That's what they say, man. I ain't nobody, man.
Yeah. I told you last time, man. When you switch your name, like that's like Prince, like you know, Prince went from Prince to a logo. That's how you know you big time.
I appreciate that. Well, speaking of big time, you know, things have changed since the last time we got on the stream. Last time you made your case why Bowie State should be considered one of the Black national champions, and you switch uniforms, man. You got a little hornet on your chest, man. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Little something. Man, I don't even know where to begin, man. Just blessed, blessed and honored. I know that's a phrase that we read way too often on social media. You know, everybody blessed and honored to receive an offer, or blessed and honored to do something. But I mean, it's truly the only way I can describe it. Obviously, as you guys know, and so I know some of the people who I've seen on the chat are some of the names that I've seen when I've been on here with you guys before. Everybody that knows me, knows anything about me, knows I have a tremendous amount of passion and love for Bowie State University and all things Bowie State. And I went toe to toe with you guys the last time about why Bowie should have been a Black college national champion. That's home. That's my alma mater, so on and so forth. So, but I also know that everything has a time. Like there's a period in time for everything, and I just felt like that my time at Bowie. It was very fruitful. It was very successful. We had accomplished so many things during my time there. So when this opportunity came, when Coach Robinson reached out to me, and just to gauge my interest in his job here, obviously, my first feeling was was flattery, just because it felt good that someone recognized what I was doing and what we had accomplished during my time at Bowie. And and it meant even more because, Coach Eddie Robinson Jr., who's our head coach here at Alabama State, he's an Alabama State alum. One of the more famous football players to come out of the SWAC. So for him to want me to take on the task of leading the defense at his alma mater, we talking a guy that was SWAC Defensive Player of the Year, played on the HBCU National Championship team, played 10 years in the NFL, played in the Super Bowl. So obviously he knows the SWAC. Obviously he knows football. Obviously he knows defense. So for him to want to give me the opportunity to come here and lead the defense that he played on, that that he won a championship with, and helped him to make it to the NFL. It was an honor. It was an honor, and in speaking with him, I can hear his passion for Alabama State University, and honestly, I felt like I was talking to myself. I felt like I was listening to myself speak the way I felt about Bowie State. And, I feel like, I'm not gonna get into, getting super religious or spiritual or whatnot, but I feel like God puts you in certain places for a reason. And I think I'm here because I deserve to be here, but I think I'm also here because I'm meant to be here for whatever time period that I'm here. And I'm just trying to make my impact, make an impact and make my presence felt during my time here at Alabama State. But definitely honored to be here, and just blessed to be in this position. Not too often do you see guys go from Division II coordinators to FCS coordinators. Normally, you got to go be a position coach or go somewhere else and kind of take that, like kind of roundabout path. But for me to be able to truly just take the next step up per se, I can't say how honored I am to be in this position.
Man, and Will, I'll let you go, but I just, it's when you elocute it that way, I just think about your journey, how I got to know you being a, position coach, being a younger coach like me. And you go to Bowie where I know you bleed Bowie. Like I know that, you know what I'm saying? And so juxtaposing that with Coach Robinson where he bleed Alabama State. So I can kind of see how those two worlds collide, where it's the same synergy in a different location. Y'all so happen to have the same colors, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's, it's one of them kind of things working too. And I had like a totally different question to ask you, but when you spoke, it got my brain churning. And so, but let me center it this way. And I mean, we got to lay it out the right way in chronological order, man. Tell me, how hard was it to leave Bowie to step into your situation at Alabama State, man?
Man, and I as I posted on my social media accounts, I'm now Coach Sewell _ASU, and Coach Sewell _Bama State on Instagram. But as I said it, and honestly, like, I had accepted the job, a few days before I actually announced it. And it really took me a few days to be able to find the words to express what I felt leaving my alma mater. And I know to some people, man, it may sound cheesy and corny because when you look at the profession that we're in, I mean, guys switch jobs like that. Guys have 2 and 3 jobs in one hiring cycle sometime. But for me, it was just different. Like, Bowie is really home. Like, a little bit about myself. I come from a high school, Fairmont Heights High School in Prince George's County, Maryland, in Capitol Heights, where I had literally only seen 2-3 people I know go from playing sports at our high school to going and play college athletics. So when people say, like, hey, why you have so much passion about Bowie? Because Bowie exposed me to so many things that I had never experienced and been exposed to in my life. Just traveling, going different places, playing football games, and meeting my teammates and meeting people on campus and so on and so forth. So it's really home for me. My son I got videos on my page where my son is leading chants at football games and so on and so forth. So it's one of those things where it wasn't just a business decision. It was a lot, it was a very emotional decision-making process for me. And ultimately, like I said, coming here, the office right next door to me is Miles Brandon, who was my D-line coach during my time at PV. Harry Williams is our offensive coordinator here. Harry was on our staff at PV. And then my head coach at PV, Henry Frazier, is good friends with Eddie Robinson. So, I had some familiarity with Eddie because he used to broadcast some of our games when I was at PV, and obviously with him being the guy who spent so much time with Houston/Tennessee football franchise. He has a house in Houston, so he would come up to campus and visit with Frazier from time to time. So I did have somewhat of a foundation in terms of. I'm sorry.
You talking about Eddie, the equipment guy?
No.
Okay, I thought you talking about Eddie. I was like, hold on.
Eddie. Yeah, our head coach Eddie.
So, all right, my man, go ahead, rock, man. Yeah. Eddie a legend, bro.
Shout out to Eddie though, man. And,
for real.
Eddie was a PV legend for sure.
Absolutely.
But no, so it was one of those things where I felt like I was leaving one family and coming to join, a quote unquote extended family. So that made the transition a little easier. But I mean, I ain't gonna lie, man. I shed a tear when I was at the airport, like board my flight, because it was like,
It's real.
man, like I'm really not gonna, and man, and just just full transparency, like my son, like he asked me a couple days after I was here, he was like, Daddy, um, can you work at Bowie State and then just coach at Alabama State? And he said, oh, and then he said, Daddy, okay, well, can they change their name to the Bulldogs at least? So, it's one of those things where like Bowie State will be my family. And I'll probably be, watching the live streams of the game or checking the scores right before we go out, for our game. So, and the man, and when I really shed a tear, I shed a tear looking in the rearview mirror of the Uber and seeing my family standing at the door watching me leave. That's when it really hit me. But it was kind of like I shed a tear of joy when I actually announced that I was coming here, and to see people's response. And like you don't realize the impact that you have on people until sometimes you kind of step back out of a situation, and and just the love I received from all of my fellow Bulldog alums and supporters and those kind of things, and it let me know that I left Bowie State on good terms, and I know that I left the program in a better standing than it was when I got there. So I can sleep well knowing that. But trust me, and when it first happened, like it was definitely not just like a no-brainer decision at all.
I know it, I understand it. I just want you to verbally say it. Will, you got anything? Because I can go.
No, you kind of took my question, but I'm gonna add into that. This is they're labeling this era the Great Resignation era, which you really didn't resign. But what was that conversation like you had with Coach Wilson about leaving? You were on here talking about him last time, and he's a man of integrity, good character and all that stuff. What words of wisdom or advice did he give you about leaving? And then the conversation that you probably had with your, some of the recruits that you had, letting them know like, hey, I'm not going to be here.
Yeah. Well, first,
your audio's off, Sewell. Your audio. We can't hear you, bro. Will, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hold on 1 second, guys. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb, because every time it rings, it's going to cut my mic off.
Yeah. I know what time it is. So while he getting that together, hey, man, it's imperative to put that on Do Not Disturb, man. Phone call will tear you up. Phone call will tear you up.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Dog outside, man. I want to.
Yeah, we're good.
I want to strangle that dog.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
I can't hear y'all. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
I can hear you.
I want to be able to hear you guys too.
Let me see. Let me text you. Hold on. Because you gotta drop out and come back in. Yeah. StreamYard, it has that crazy little caveat, man. If you don't, if you get interrupted, man, the audio is like good luck.
What's
it's good luck.
No.
It's good luck. Yeah, he have to drop down and come back. Yeah, and Mo, I'm gonna get to you.
I always have a.
What if he got? Oh, he just turned his what's name on? It's like no way possible. Let's see.
His mic says muted. His mic says muted.
Oh, yes, muted.
On my stream.
It is too. Yeah, it's on my side too. All right, so we're gonna get Coach Sewell back on, but and with the thing like a move like this, I've seen what it takes out of somebody, man, and there's nothing like being where you're comfortable at. It's nothing like being where your heart is, and when you gotta leave, it's almost like shared loyalty, as it were, or it's like I'll give you an example, like my guy Tim Smith. He works compliance at Alcorn State, and he's a Prairie View guy through and through. And I know Sewell know who I'm talking about. If you can hear me, you hear me, Sewell? All right, so we got a private chat. Let's see. Let's see if we can get this together, man. Appreciate y'all. Oh, he gonna drop back. Okay, all right, here we go. So he about to drop back and come back. So, but like with TC, Tim Smith, man, he always has that affinity for Prairie View, man. He always talks about things going on with Prairie View and gives me ideas to have for shows and what have you. So I know it's a conflict of loyalty, familiarity, however you want to shake that out, and I can only imagine what he's going through with that, man.
Yeah, it's just like moving cities, man. Like for me, even leaving Houston, that was big and very, very hard to do because that Houston, you're born in Houston, you hardly ever want to leave it. It's instilled in you, and it's hard to get away, man. But but when you leave and you go do something different, it shows you yourself that you're capable of other things besides the things that you're familiar with, man. And so even just being 4.5 hours away, I've discovered that I've done some things like, man, I wouldn't even done this back at home. I've been just comfortable in my position. So for Coach Sewell to leave his alma mater, that's very, very tough. And you get to coach there, very, very tough. So I understand his positioning. And I know it was very, very hard to do.
Man, straight up. And I left Houston before you did, and that was a big move for me. Like just going to Dallas and being out on my own and making my own way. And now I'm in Los Angeles, so it softened the blow. But yeah, man, nothing like leaving where you're familiar at. Yeah. So we got Coach Sewell back in here, man. So Coach, we just talking about how it's difficult to leave what you're so used to and then have a new environment and thrive in that environment. And so we were just kind of identifying on what your path has been, going through that transition.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I had some conversation with some people. I know before we got cut off, you guys were asking me how was that conversation with Coach Wilson. So it was weird because when I first got contacted by Coach Robinson, I let Coach Wilson know, just because that's the right thing to do for me. You always you remain a professional regardless of the circumstances. So I let him know what was going on. And he was just kind of like, okay, cool, let me know, just keep me in the loop. And then I ended up going back to him maybe a week or so later, like, hey, I think they're going to call me in for an interview, so on and so forth. Just want to kind of get with you to see, how you feel about everything and, like kind of help me prep for the interview and those kind of things. And he was like, okay, he didn't say he had been avoiding it. But he was like, he wanted to make sure that he could talk to me as a colleague versus as a friend, because I mean we have a true genuine friendship. I called and we laughed and joked for about 30 minutes earlier today. So it's definitely no bad blood, no ill will or anything between the two of us. So and when we actually talked, man, initially I think that like I had to realize like me leaving, I'm not going to say it weakened his program, but it definitely, one of the things that were key to our success at Bowie was continuity. Myself, the OC, my linebackers coach, like all of our full-time coaches at the university were all Bowie alums. And
that's great.
We had all been a part of the program together in some way, shape, or form for at least about 10 years or so. So wow. I was one of the first ones. Our OC left a few years ago, but outside of that, I was kind of one of the first ones to quote unquote break that chain. So I'm sure that there was some a level of uncertainty on his part, on both of our part. Like, hey, I'm leaving home, and for him it's like, hey, I'm now I gotta figure out what my next move is. But at the end of our conversation, man, a few things that he said that stood out to me were, he just basically told me, hey, I want what you want for yourself. I want you to have what you want for yourself. And then he said, we laughed. He said, "Man, you did a 12-year bid here. I can't ask you for any more than that." And he said the same thing I said earlier. He said, "Man, you definitely helped take the program to a higher level than it was when we got here. So, I'm thankful for that. So that's my dog. He already told me that he's going to try to get down here for our first game when we play against Howard, because that's
a big game.
That's a week 0 game, so nobody else is playing on during that week. So he's like, they'll be done with camp. He's gonna have a few days off, so he's going to try to come down and check us out. So that bond and that relationship will never ever be severed by something like this for sure.
That's awesome, man. And I gotta give a shout out to one of my moving co-hosts and homie Sub-Zero. Sub turn up, man. He's an Alabama native. Very passionate brother. He says, "I'm a Montgomery native and pulling for a state except against Skiggy, man." So if y'all play Skiggy, Sub ain't rocking with you, but other than that, he good.
Okay, that's a bet.
He played basketball at Tuskegee, so that's where his loyalty lies. But no, I think that's very prophetic, man. Having that situation. You broke that chain and all that success y'all had at Bowie.
Right.
Like 3 championships
in 4 years.
3 championships in a row.
Yeah,
like 4 years. And the only reason we went 4 in a row is because of COVID. Like COVID is the only COVID the only
that's the only person that beat y'all
in the last 4 years.
Hey, put that on the shirt, man.
Yeah, put that on the shirt, man. COVID only beat us. No, I think those things are important because I want the SWAC fans to know what you're getting with this addition to the coaching lineup. Because, with Coach Robinson, obviously ex-NFL player, you coop that with obviously Coach Prime, with Coach Hugh Jackson. So you got a lot of star power as far as former pros in the SWAC. But you got to know about these guys that are doing the dirty work, as it were, in the trenches. And so, and I'm not gonna lie.
No. I'm just a little D2 coach.
Yeah,
that's how I want them to see me. I want them to
used
see
to
me
be one.
Keep on the radar, man.
and that's my point. That's what I was just about to make. And you talked about how some guys got to go up the ranks being position coaches for many years, and you work your way up. Oh, and I forgot Coach Bubba McDowell being the head coach at Prairie View, former Houston Oiler, great Houston Oiler at that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Bubba been 10 years in Prairie View before he got the job. You know what I mean? So
good guy, great guy.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, it shocked me. I mean, it didn't shock me because I know what you're capable of doing, but you know how the perception is coming from D2 to Division I ranks, coming straight as the D coordinator. So it shows that that's a testament to your work. So I just want you to kind of talk to the Alabama State fans right now. What tenacity, what mentality, what are you gonna bring to that Hornets defense that is worthy to look forward to with the SWAC in the golden era, as people are kind of renaming it? What are they to look for when they look up Alabama State?
Well, I mean, you actually stole my answer. I mean, that's what one of the things y'all know, man, is that anything I associate myself with, I'm going to be passionate about it, and that passion is going to display in my work. I'm a guy that, when I came in here and assessed this situation, one of the first things that stood out to me is, as a unit, we only had 4 interceptions in the 2021 season. And like I told those guys, I said 4 interceptions to me, we call that Saturday. And that's not trying to be arrogant or anything. I'm not going to be associated with a team who does not play with a certain level of passion. And we're going to try our best to put our football team in a position to win the game every single Saturday. And if that means we got to take the ball away, if that means we got to score touchdowns, whatever the case may be, that's what we're going to have to do. I understand, how talented the SWAC is and has always been. I mean, when I was at PV, we didn't win a quote unquote down SWAC. We had some teams. You look at Bruce Eugene was at Grambling during that era. Southern had a pretty good quarterback. Exactly, Tavares Jackson, obviously. So we had to go through some pretty strong teams and some strong coaches, and some rough atmospheres, and we took our lumps. But when we came out on the other end, we were those guys. KJ Black is the Tavares Jackson and Bruce Eugene of PV. I had a couple guys that were, both of my safeties were first team all conference guys, and one of them was All American during my time at PV. And I tell my guys here all the time, like, for one, man, and just to be real with you, man, I had to reach out to some of my kids at Bowie last week and say, hey, man, like, I can't thank y'all enough, because when I put the film on, the film teaches for me, because like we had some guys that could play football at Bowie, and they played the game the right way. They played hard. They played with passion. And now I'm telling these guys, hey, these guys that you see on film, they are an extension of me. They're an extension of who I am from a mentality standpoint, from a passion standpoint. And I don't know if you guys have been down here, but man, this is one of the best facilities I've seen.
Yeah,
I heard it's good. I've never been there. I heard it's
I've
good.
been several times. Yeah,
man, listen, it's first class. It's first class, and the people here are great. Everywhere, you can't go anywhere in town without seeing, ASU, the ASU here, ASU there. So the support is there. We just got to change the mentality within our building. We got to change the mentality within our building. We got to get these kids to understand that being average is not going to be good enough. One of the things that I share with them is one of our slogans that we use at Bowie, and that's master the things that require no talent. Because as you can see, everybody in the SWAC is getting 4 and 5 star recruits everywhere. So we're probably not going to be the most talented team every time we step on the field, but we have to be the best at doing all those little things, all those intangibles, all the dirty work. Like, we got to be the hard hat guys. Guys got to know when you come to play Alabama State, you want to be in for a fight. And that's the mentality that we're trying to instill in our student athletes here. And we understand it's not going to be an overnight thing, but we got spring ball coming up in a few weeks. And as a coaching staff, we're excited. We're going to try to give these guys everything we can give them and put them in position to be successful. And we got some guys that can play. I don't want you to sit and thinking like I'm saying like we don't have anybody that can play. But we've got to get all of our guys on the same page and getting those guys to understand that just doing enough is not going to be good enough for us to get where we're trying to get to.
I love that answer, and this is kind of laments back to what me and Will were talking about when we did the SWAC championship. I'm sorry, the South Carolina State versus Jackson State game, and we was giving our insight about what we thought how the game would be. And before I get into that, man, shout out to DJ Ron Cut, man, in the building.
DJ, what up, man?
Yeah, man, he covers HBCU content as well. So if y'all crave that HBCU and content, y'all mosey on down to Raw Truth Media. He does the same thing with bigger audience than me. So I'm working my way up. I'm getting there, God dog.
We're both trying to get them.
Absolutely, man. And so I think that was a good point because I lost my train of thought that quick. What was I just talking about? About the what Coach Pugh. What Coach Pugh was doing was having that bunker mentality against a team that quote unquote had more talent. Yep. And I think on that level, you got to garner that because we all know who's going to be the belle of the ball this whole year. We all know that. And that's going to be Jackson State University. And I think that was a great mantra you instill in your guys that do things that don't require talent. Because as we know, hard work outworks talent 9 times out of 10, man. Not every time, but most times hard work outworks talent. So, that's good insight for you Bama State fans following that workman's, that blue collar mentality is coming your way. So I gotta say that as we go forward. Will, what you got?
Yeah, so I did the Alabama State game versus Jackson State game last year, and I'm sitting there watching it. And I'm like, you spoke about y'all only have 4 interceptions. And I think it's a guy named Urshad Davis.
Remember that? Listen, you'll know how to say his name by the time this year is over.
Okay, there you go.
He's a dog for sure.
He's okay. So and I'm saying that because he was a sophomore last year, or he's a sophomore now. And I was watching the game. I'm like, these dudes are playing hard, but the way they were playing, you could tell that they were very, very young. Now, I don't know if Alabama State might have been the youngest team in the SWAC last year, but I know the quarterback was like a redshirt freshman. A lot of linebackers was redshirt freshmen. I'm like, these dudes gonna be good in a couple of years. So what do you think about all the young talent that you have, coming back or coming in?
Yeah, one of the things, and I'm very, very careful not to talk down on anybody else. Like I said, I'm grateful, I'm blessed to be in this position. But one of the things that I've gotten from the guys is, I think that they may have had a lot put on their plates in terms of what they were being asked to do at times. So one of the things I'm trying to do is I want to let these guys play football. I want to let them play football. I want to let them fly around, make plays, and enjoy the game. For me, as a defense, it's when you're having fun. Guys are flying around making plays. Guys are hitting hard and celebrating with each other. Like you got to have that edge, that swagger on the defensive side of the ball. So again, that's what I'm trying to bring to the table, and I think that these guys have welcomed me with open arms. And again, when I look at certain positions, I think that when you come into a new job, a lot of times people automatically assume that the cupboard is bare. But the cupboard is definitely not bare here. And we've added a few more pieces throughout this 2022 recruiting class, both from a transfer standpoint as well as some incoming freshmen that have a chance to be really, really good. So I think the future is definitely bright. But for us, the future is now. The future is now. We're not looking at this as a quote unquote rebuild. We feel as though we have a team that can be competitive in our conference right here, right now, and we're gonna do all we can as coaches to put our guys in a position to be competitive. We're not looking at this as a thing where, hey, we're gonna take our lumps and be happy. No, we expect to be in every game that we line up for. And win, lose, or draw, we understand that when people see us play, they're going to say, hey, those guys gave it their all and they played hard and they had a chance to win the ball game.
Yeah, I love it. And then Cliff knows, man, our high school coach, our senior year, our mantra or whatever was called, expect to win. And a lot of people around the district was like, man, what are they talking about? This and that. And we're a bunch of kids from the hood, don't really not highly recruited. But we really believed that we were supposed to win every single game. And that propelled us to make a really, really good playoff run back in the day. And so when you're
don't say it like that. We were the game before the state tournament. We were number 10 team ranked in Texas in 5A. Let's say the story right. Go ahead.
Right.
Let's give context to the story.
That's one thing. And Cliff, I'm with that. You ain't got. It's not your job to be modest when you do something great. Like, if they don't want to hear you boast, they should have beat you.
Yeah, we beat a lot of good teams. I
don't want to take Will's thunder because we had no reason to be that cocky, and we were some cocky dudes. Me, a 1-year letterman, Will, a 2-year letterman. We had like a 3-year letterman, Dante, but like everybody else was 2 years and below letterman. Like we had a senior laden team, and we had no doubt that we was gonna go deep in the playoffs, but we had it was nothing you could show to prove that just because I'm gonna say, but only what we knew we did every day after school. We knew what we put in on those Saturdays, on them holiday days. We know what we put in, but the world didn't know until they knew. But go ahead, Will. I don't want to steal your thunder, man.
No, you good. That's basically saying, having coaches that believe in it. And there are a lot of coaches sometimes who just want to get through the season like, oh, we're gonna wait until this such and such year, just like one of our coaches was like, we want to wait until the 04 group. But a lot of coaches don't expect that initial group that they have to win. But when you're a coach and you instill that into them, we can win right now. I think that's just huge for especially today's kids' confidence, man. Like, why not us? Why not? Same thing that SC State thing. Why not us? Why can't we dethrone Jackson State?
Sure.
Why can't we do it right now? And one thing I love about LeVar Ball is, man, he tell his kids, man, somebody got to be better than Jordan. Why not you? Why not you? Like not somebody, not your teammate, not somebody 10 years from now. Why not you be better than Jordan? So that's something I do admire about what he put in his kids.
For sure.
That's the tone from Tone.
Yeah. So Tone. So you're talking about what you're going to instill in the kids. You're talking about the Bowie mentality. You're talking about the pretty much the hard hat mentality. So as you look at the landscape of the SWAC right now, where do you see the talent overall, and just what kind of work do you see cut out for you coming into this season?
I mean, the SWAC has always been a wide open offensive conference, but ironically, Jackson State and FAMU were two of the top defenses in all of FCS football last year. So I think people still see the SWAC and see all the guys being signed, and you got your Quill Glass who just finished down at Alabama A&M, and those guys, and Shador up at Jackson State, and of course quarterbacks are always going to be, like you said, Cliff, the bell of the ball. Everybody's
Absolutely
waiting for to see who's going to be the next great quarterback, and so on and so forth. So I think that every game is going to be a challenge for us. But I think and again, man, and y'all know that I'm a big, I'm a facts guy. I'm a facts guy. And when I look at our coaching staff, just our coaching staff here at Alabama State, we have a head coach who played in the Super Bowl. We have a offensive coordinator who won several championships as a player at Tuskegee, as well as a championship at PV as a coach. We have a gentleman who probably should have been the Super Bowl MVP in Jacoby Jones as our wide receivers coach.
I didn't know he was there.
Yeah. Jacoby, wow. He went to school with my brother at Lane.
Yeah, Lane College, yeah.
Our running backs coach, Greg Ruffin, won a championship at Jackson State, among other places. Obviously, I won a few games here and there during my time at Bowie. Coach Brandon won the SWAC championship as a defensive line coach at PV. Our outside linebackers coach, Ryan Lewis, won several MEAC championships during his time as a player at Bethune-Cookman. And our linebackers coach, Billy Gresham, won the SWAC championship. Tavares Jackson was his best friend. So he was on that team when Alabama State won their last SWAC championship. So no, we don't have the names per se on paper, but we got a lot of guys in this building who've done a lot of winning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that attitude is going to spill over into our players. So I think that every game in the SWAC is going to be a challenge this year, but our expectation and our goal is for us to be a part of that challenge as well. It's not going to be, oh, y'all got a tough game this week. It's going to be, hey, they have a tough game playing you guys this week as well.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so that's and again, and it's not to be arrogant or anything, but one thing I can tell you is our guys are going to play hard. And as long as you play hard in sports, you always have a chance.
That's fact, and we saw that against Carolina State in Jackson. We saw that.
Exactly did. They played hard, kept it close, and then all of a sudden Jackson State just kind of
absolutely. And to be honest, Tennessee State almost did the same thing to start the year. I'm not Tennessee State. I'm sorry, Florida A&M.
Florida A&M.
Yeah, 6-7.
If that game was a little bit dry, I think Florida A&M would have. I think
debatable.
That offense would have been a little more explosive, man. But shout out to Jackson State for holding it down. So.
It's debatable, man. And shout out to Daniel Wiley. He says, "Man, what team do you pattern your defense after, if that's even a thing?" So,
great question.
Mine. I mean, I've been a coordinator. I've been a coordinator for 12 years. I've developed my own style, and I'm not trying to be funny.
There you go.
I'm no longer, man. Listen, I don't know if you can see it on your screen. I know, I just look good. I'm in my 40s. I've been coaching for a good little while, and but all jokes aside, you develop, as a young coach, you have your notepad and you draw your plays up and you say, man, when I become a coordinator, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And I used to have this great play call sheet with all these plays on it and color code and all that, and I would call 5 defenses the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like it's like in any sport, when you played the Utah Jazz, what were they going to do?
Pick and roll.
Pick and roll. You know it's coming.
Roll and
they're
pick.
going to find, regardless of what defense you play, they're going to find a way to run pick and roll. They're going to make the adjustment. So
absolutely,
I coach defense like an offensive coach does. Like, I want to dictate. I'm not going to allow you to dictate to me what I do. I'm going to go in with a game plan, and we're going to stick to that game plan. And we may make some adjustments and vary a little bit, but we're never going to stray completely away from our game plan. If we do, we're going to go to something else that we do well.
So what it sounds like to me is y'all got you have an overarching approach. It sounds like some Bill Belichick stuff, but you have the ability to change if need be, which, I mean, that's just smart. What they call it, situational football. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to get ready for a monkey wrench that gets thrown into your overarching strategy. And successful teams don't every week, we're going to try this. We're going to try that. We're going to try this. And usually people dog walking you week after week if that's the way you approach the game. So I do appreciate you having that mentality, and it's gonna make me want to watch y'all defense the whole year. I mean, not because I know you and all that, but I'm gonna see if those formations stay the same, if the principles stay the same. You know what I'm saying? If I see you out there doing some, I don't want to call my team. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, but if I see y'all blowing with the wind, I'm like, hey man, what's going down, bro?
Yeah, nah, man. And like I said, I'm some people may look at me and say, "Oh, he's arrogant," or "He's overconfident." I mean, I work hard.
Yeah,
I work hard. So, like, I'm not afraid. Like, I don't ever feel like I'm putting my foot in my mouth, because I know that. Again, I'm not guaranteeing anything, but I know that whatever I say, I'm going to work my butt off to try to make sure that the product I put out on the field reflects, how I may come off, and it may rub some people the wrong way or whatnot. But if you don't respect hard work, then what do you respect?
That's facts.
Put that on a shirt.
That's facts. Put it on the shirt. Put it on the shirt. Hey, that's what it is, man. I got a question. So I'm looking at you guys' schedule, and then with college football is totally different from college basketball. You have a chance to, play a team first, and then, get them a second go around in college basketball. But with college football, every weekend is important. And three of you guys' first four SWAC games are at home. Have you guys talked about how important it is if y'all get those, you got Texas, you got PV, Texas Southern, Jackson State, and then Mississippi Valley State. Y'all can kind of put a stronghold on the conference if y'all get those first four games. So have y'all kind of, mentioned that about the scheduling wise with your guys?
Well, the interesting thing that I found out the other day is we were actually undefeated at home last year and defeated on the road last year. Oh. So it may be a blessing that we're starting off with all those games at home, because clearly it's something about that locker room that those guys came out and were able to pull off victories in every game that we played on campus last year. So I sure hope that it starts off the same way this year. But we obviously got to change the other part. We don't want to be 0-4 on the road. But no, I mean I think it's again, we have a beautiful facility here, great fan support. So I think it'll be a good thing for our guys to come out, and hopefully, man, we know in college athletics, momentum is from play to play, game to game, week to week, momentum can really, really carry you far. So it's definitely important for us to get off to a good note. I mean, then we play Howard in Atlanta, which is 160 miles away from our campus. So we only really travel far one time really in the first month of the season, which is us going over to UCLA to play those guys. So I think it's important that we take advantage of it. You said it could be a gift and a curse. If you start off hot, like you said, you put yourself in a really good position. But if you start off and you have all those home games early and you don't have any success, that can kind of mentally get in and affect your guys' psyche. And that's definitely not what we want. So just hoping that our guys realize that we have an advantageous start to our schedule, and we need to take advantage of that by getting off to a good start and getting out and getting ahead of some people.
Love it.
Yeah, and that's crazy how and I can attest, like Alabama State has really good facilities from the Acadome to the football stadium. It definitely stood out going to Alabama State. And this was like back in
I need to get out there.
2020. My last time going that way was about 2012-ish.
Mm-hmm.
It always stood out as one of the better facilities in the SWAC. And as you know, I probably put y'all about third, you know, Prairie View being number 1 and 2. So I put y'all about 3. You know. So,
hey man, you know. I understand.
You know, hey, it always gonna circle back, man. I'm scared of my but
goodness,
you know, but I love the tenacity. I love the outlook because I think these discussions don't get had in these conversations all the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important that people understand that in this golden era, which a lot of people have phrased it as, you got a lot of moving parts. You got a lot of influences on these programs. And so it is good. I hope y'all like this content. Let me say this. Let me stop that. Y'all hit that like button, subscribe button if you've not done that. There's a lot of SWAC content out here, but I'm gonna give it to you straight from the horse's mouth, man. I'm working on getting my boy KJ Black back on here. I want Sewell again. It's his fourth time on my show. I want you to hear this from the horse's mouth, and I'm glad just on many levels that, you know, he's moved back to the SWAC from a coordinator standpoint so y'all can take heed more, because you know how it goes sometimes. You play D2, everybody's, it's D2.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You know how it is, man. It's unfair, but it is what it is. We live in reality, man, not made up world.
Right,
but
no doubt.
And again, that's why I said when you got the job, I was like, damn, hell yeah, so I hit you up immediately. I was like, man, congratulations, bro. And then, you know, we worked to the part about coming on the show. But so going forward, you guys want to establish that home culture, which I've already have seen already. You want to chip away some stuff on the road. So, I mean, people say defense travels. So you kind of hoping to have that new dog mentality from defense to travel from that home success to that road situation?
Yes, sir. I mean, I'm first of all, I'm hoping that some of my defense success travels from the Eastern time zone down here to Montgomery, you know. So, you know, I packed quite a bit of stuff. So hopefully that was somewhere in that luggage as well. But no doubt, man. I mean, again, I think that if we start, in my experience, if you start having some success early, you know, last year at Bowie, we scored some defensive touchdowns early in the season. And it was like, it just became contagious. And we ended up leading the country in defensive touchdowns. And it was like, it got to the point where every game was like, okay, we're going to score on defense. It went from, oh, it's a bonus we scored on defense to, okay, at some point we know we're going to score on defense. So, again, going back to that whole momentum thing, you know, we're just hoping that we can get off to a good start, play well early on, and just kind of, you know, show our guys, because when you're talking about trying to win football games, winning to me is a learned behavior. And when you do it early, you can end up stealing some games that you may not even, you know, that maybe you shouldn't win, but your guys believe in it and they start to make those plays when it counts. But on the flip side, again, if you don't have that success early, you can give some games away that you shouldn't lose because guys just simply don't understand the feeling of winning. So we wanna hopefully give those guys that feeling early on, let them experience that. And again, Alabama State University was 5-6 last year. We're not talking about us taking over a team that was 1-10 on the season last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
right there. There.
You know, I mean, one game away and really a few plays away from having a winning season. So we just want to again love these guys up, you know, show them the right way to do things, and you know, hopefully they'll take that to the field and they have success doing it early. One of the greatest teacher you can have is success, because when you have success now, that gives you a captive audience. You know, you can be preaching the right things and teaching the right things, but if the guys aren't having success doing it, you may eventually lose them. You know, so you know, I really do hope that we have some success early on, so that then we'll really get that buy-in that we need from those guys, and you know, just start to kind of roll downhill with it.
Yeah. And I'll add this little tidbit, and Will, I'll let you go. And that stuff is infectious. I mean, we saw it with the Dallas Cowboys with Trayvon Diggs getting those interceptions, and the culture became, we got to get an interception. But the Cowboys, you know, they don't get takeaways like that. That's just not what the defense do. And then Micah Parsons and the D-line, D-Law, it was like, we got to get the ball. So it's infectious. You know what I'm saying?
I haven't seen, I've seen a few of your shows, but not all of them. Do you always talk about the Dallas Cowboys, or do you only do that because it's me and you know that I really hate the Dallas Cowboys?
I don't care what you like. It's Cowboys season. It's Cowboys and whatever team.
Cliff been a Cowboys fan forever, man.
I know. I know.
I'm not Johnny come lately now. This is what I do.
No. You know I know that, but you also know that I'm a fan of your bitter rival. So I think you just make sure that you can continuously compare my defense to the Dallas Cowboys, because you know I don't really want to hear that.
It's the Redskins. I mean, don't nobody care about the Redskins.
The Commanders. Put some respect on me.
I got Wentz on the board. Maybe he's still healthy this year.
Man,
he about to came and Wentz.
We need some good mojo. Maybe his bad luck and our bad luck combined,
come together and make
two negatives make a positive, right? So.
I think I saw someone where the Seahawks offered them like 3 first-round picks for Wilson or something, and they didn't take it.
Yeah,
that's rough.
That's tough, man.
That's rough. Well, I was gonna say this too. In high school, we went to a hood high school, but we had a culture of taking charges. Yeah. So what we started to do is because it took time off our running. Yeah. And me and Will know this. We learned that in college, at higher level programs, they do that too. So at Stephen Austin, I coach Danny Casper would do the same thing, but I coached Jeffrey Brush in high school. Like if you took charges, he would take time off your running.
Guaranteed.
So we was like literally like in games just taking too many charges. And everybody, fans like, oh, they flopping. They did. But it's like when somebody gets charged, I'm about to give me one too. So
yes, for real. Now they didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. Now you have to get and my big stuff. I'm like, and I'm guaranteed to go take a charge.
Like, I'm taking one. Like,
hey, coach, don't mark that off. Mark it.
So that's just something we did, man. You know, and I think that's prophetic what you're saying from a life application standpoint. For me and Will, we saw that. Like that's real. Players respond to positive or negative, for that matter, stimuli. So if you got your lead guy, just your head down, he's aloof, he's disengaged. The other guys tend to mimic that style of reaction to it. So I think that's very encouraging for Alabama State fans, that you got somebody that wants to cultivate a culture of success, of hard work, of earning your keep. And I think that leads to, I mean, it sounds generic, but everybody don't commit to that like you think. How do I know that? I played Division I basketball. I know it don't always go like that. I had a coach who played for the great Nolan Richardson. I'll leave his name out of this. It did not go well. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So
it did not go well. That's putting it at the smallest form.
It is what it is, man. Like I live in reality, man. I don't live in Candyland world.
Yes,
I live where reality lives. Yes. So I know, we got a few more minutes with Coach Sewell. I know he probably got a phone call coming. I know everybody blowing him up because it's fire interview. So if you ain't followed Hoop Jargon by now, please do that. If you ain't followed Between the Game Sports, please do that. Will, you got anything, man? So we're gonna if you give us 5 more minutes, Coach Sewell, that'd be awesome.
No, you good. You good.
Yeah, I want to ask about the academic side. A lot of people don't really understand how hard it is to be a student athlete. And I remember our coaches really having to like go and check classroom for a certain kid almost every single day, or each coach had a certain group of guys that they had to check. So what do you guys do to ensure that your guys are attending class, hitting their books, hitting study hall? Like, what is the process at Alabama State for your guys academically?
The same thing you said. We mostly break things down by position. I still don't even know all the buildings on campus yet, but I go around with some of the other coaches to check classes. We start off every staff meeting with reports on academics. Coach Robinson, most people know Coach Robinson was a chemistry major in college. So not only was he a great football player, but he was the true definition of a student athlete.
Yeah.
He's been a very successful businessman in his post football career. So he's not going to allow these guys to come here and just be football players or dumb jocks or whatever you want to call it. So and then every coach on our staff has at least a bachelor's degree, from a 4-year university. So it's a little easier for us to say, hey, you got to go to class, you got to do this. I mean, we got guys that played in the NFL, but they all also have their degrees from HBCUs, so that alone carries some weight in the eyes of the kids. And of course, you still got some kids that just, man, coach, I just want a ball and so on and so forth. And we make it very clear to them, like, you're not going to have success here if that's your mentality. So, we have some academic resources in place here from a university standpoint, but we also say, like we had a conversation earlier, like, hey, like sometimes you got to check the checker. And that means that we have to go back and ensure that our student athletes are doing what they're supposed to do. And, can't necessarily rely on anybody else to force them to do something when we have the ability to make sure that they're doing as well.
Lead by example. That's what it is. You can talk all day, but if you ain't got the credentials, kids they gonna see what you about real quick.
Hey, that Google is a mean mother sucker.
But speaking of that, man, let me add to that. How do you guys handle your kids' social media, things, all this access with TikTok? And I see all these Oregon athletes on TikTok and doing all these crazy things. So. And Twitter and Instagram. So how do you guys manage that? Do y'all have a social media manager per se?
Well, I don't think we necessarily have a social media manager. Something that we just kind of do ourselves. Like, hey, I follow a kid, they follow me back, and I'm as I see things come across my timeline from my student athletes, I'm just making sure that they are a good representation for themselves, our football program, as well as their family. And if it's not, I'll make sure to say something to them. I'll make sure I'll pull a guy up and say, hey man, you probably shouldn't post this. Hey, if you were, if you were an NFL player, do you think your franchise would want you posting? Because of course they all, have aspirations of playing on the next level, or hey, how would your mom and dad and your family feel about, you posting something like this? Like, is this what you want people to think is an accurate reputation of your character and your upbringing? So, it's one of those things where we don't have the manpower to say, hey, this one person is going to monitor all these kids' social media, but we try to make sure that it's really like a collective effort amongst the staff.
That makes sense.
I love it. I love it.
Well, this is the era you got to worry about stuff like that. And I see you, coach, stepped up your social media thing too, man. It's one of them things, man. You gotta be out there, man, and you gotta do it the right way. You gotta do it the right way.
I hate social media. I'm not gonna lie, I hate it. But to do this kind of stuff, you need it.
You gotta do it, man. It's unfortunate to do a lot.
Like with anything, man, like too much of anything can be a bad thing, but it definitely has its benefits from a recruiting standpoint, from an exposure standpoint.
Absolutely.
It allows you to reach way more people than you could without it. So
yeah,
I just try to do it as much as I can in moderation.
There you go. That's what it is. Well, Coach, man, I appreciate your time, man. And when you get a chance, send me one of them ugly Alabama State shirts, man. I'll put it on next interview.
I got you. Hey, listen,
I turn it inside out. You know what I'm saying?
They got some Alabama State basketball jerseys in the book, so I'm gonna make sure I get one and send it to you.
Yeah, man. Give me a Trace Young jersey, man.
Hey, man, that boy can shoot it now.
That boy athletic as hell, man. I like Trace Young. Yeah, I'll set up for a Trace Young jersey.
He's figuring this stuff out.
I got you. But no, I appreciate you guys as always. I'm sorry I couldn't spend more time with you, but I'll always come back on so we can continue the conversation. I got a FaceTime with my little one before he go to bed every night. So that's a part of my a part of the deal I made with him that for him to allow me to leave and come take this job. So
I know your business.
No doubt. I appreciate y'all as always, Cliff, man. Much love, man. I'll see you guys soon.
Yes, sir, man. You take care, Coach Sewell. There you go, man.
Mm-hmm.
interview with Coach Sewell. We'll have him back on here once the games start up, and maybe preseason we'll bring him back on.
Before the season starts, for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on Coach KJ Black to come back to the show. It'll be KJ. KJ been on the show 3 times. Well, I used to have a Facebook show, so I'm trying to get KJ back on. Obviously Kenyatta. So, guys, for the HBCU Insight, this is where you need to be. Either here or be at Between the Game Sports, man. DJ Ron Cut Truth as well, man. SWAC Buzz. That's where you're getting quality content coming from people who know the SWAC, people who know the SWAC, people who actually in the trenches doing the stuff. So I do want to let that be known, man. And shout out to everybody who was being active in the chat. Shout out to everybody super chatting during this. Will, you got any parting words, man?
No, man. We always try to give you guys, clear, precise, objective things. Not being so biased on certain things. There are a bunch of channels out there I'm not going to mention. They're just very, very biased about stuff. But we're doing this to because we like to do it, and then also because we like to promote, Black schools, SWAC schools, whatever it may be. And these young men and these young ladies deserve to have their time in the sun. And now it's starting to happen. So we're going to continue to put this kind of stuff out. And, coaches are coming. College basketball season is almost over, so a lot of coaches that I know are reaching out to me whenever their season is done. They're going to want to do some interviews too. So, man, we know a lot of people by good character, being who we are, being honest, and so that's taking us a lot of places.
There you go. People ask me all the time, how you get an interview with LeVar Ball? How you get to interview with Coach Hester at Texas Tech? Coach AB at Baylor. I mean,
I had an interview with the skills position coach for the Clippers last year. Just knowing people, man.
Knowing people, not being no terrible person that says bad stuff in bad faith. They may not agree with what you say, but you say stuff in good faith and you build up relationships, and that's how it keeps growing. So for y'all up and coming YouTubers, that's how you want to do it. I mean, you can go about it however you want to go about it, but your character is going to take you where it's going to take you, or it's not going to take you where it's going to take you.
Exactly.
I mean, y'all see me covering the Super Bowl a few weeks ago. I don't get that off of burning bridges with people. I don't get that off of, just rattling off anything and saying anything just to get people to click on my videos. So,
real. Shout out to BTP.
Shout out to BTP Sports, man. I'll be doing some stuff with them. I got a big announcement coming out with a podcast deal I got going with a certain network, but I ain't going to tell you. You got to keep checking these videos out, and I'll tell you what network I'll be joining. So, I mean, it's all about just putting that good message out there, putting good content out there. And thank y'all who rock with us. So y'all hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, as well as my guy, Between the Game Sports. Y'all sub to his channel as well. And Will, you got anything?
No, we out, man. Peace.
All right, I'm gonna let LeVar Ball and Kendrick Perkins take us home, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Shout out to Hoop Jargon, man. I'm gonna add you to the crew, man. This crew called Hoop Jargon. They've been getting at it, man. They the ones that's gonna grill you, man, because they majority are all Houston people. So that's
shout out to Hoop Jargon. Man, I'm here with my man with Hoop Jargon, the best in the game, man. And I only let selected few in my circle. And this is the real dude right here. We gonna get down with the get down.